Tonight is not just another night. What is about to happen in the next few hours is something so precisely timed, so spiritually specific, that most people will sleep through it completely unaware that 3 direct messages were delivered into their soul while they slept. They will wake up tomorrow morning, shake off the night, scroll their phone and move on with their lives, not realizing that the universe just spoke to them. Not realizing they passed through a portal that only opens when a very specific set of forces align. This is the 666 portal meeting the Pisces Moon on June 6, 2026. And if you have been feeling lately like something is shifting beneath the surface of your life, like your dreams have been more vivid and more charged than usual, like something is pulling you toward a direction that has not yet fully revealed itself, you are not imagining it. There is a specific reason this is happening to you right now. And tonight, before morning comes, 3 messages are going to arrive that will change how you move forward. Write 1111 in the comments right now if tonight's portal found you. Let me know you are here. Now let me tell you what is actually converging tonight, because this is not ordinary energy. June 6, 2026, the 6th day, the 6th month, 2026, reducing to 10 and 10 to 1, the number of new beginnings. The number of what starts when everything holding it in compression finally releases. And on this specific date, the moon moves into Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, the place where everything dissolves into something that cannot be contained or categorized. Pisces is the ocean beneath the ocean, the dream beneath the dream, the layer of reality that exists just below the surface of ordinary consciousness. And when the moon is in Pisces, the veil between the visible and the invisible is at its thinnest point in the entire lunar cycle. Tonight, the Pisces moon and the 666 portal are active at the same time. And what that means for chosen ones who are sensitive to these energies is this. The channel between the spiritual realm and your consciousness is open tonight at a level it reaches very rarely. What God and the universe have been trying to communicate, what has been forming in the spiritual realm for weeks, is finding its delivery vehicle tonight. And that vehicle is your dream state. The dream state is not passive. It is not just your mind processing the day. It is the most direct receiving channel available to a human being. Because in the waking state, there are layers of protection between you and the direct communication of what is larger than you. Protection built from years of experience, of learning what is safe to believe and what is not, of guarding hope after it has been disappointed, of managing expectation to avoid the cost of full hope. These protections serve a purpose in ordinary life, but they also block something. They block the direct, unfiltered, unguarded communication that the soul level carries. And tonight, while those protections are sleeping, while the guarded part of you is offline, the 3 messages come through. Now let me tell you what these 3 messages are. Dream message 1, the truth about what you are actually being called to. Most chosen ones carry a version of their purpose that is smaller than the actual version. Not because they lack vision, because the years of navigating a world that did not always receive that vision shaped it into something more manageable, more survivable, more defensible when questioned, and that adjusted version got comfortable, became the one they operated from, became what they told themselves the calling actually was, but that is not the full version. And tonight the Pisces moon delivers the full version, not as a clear instruction manual. Dreams do not work that way. It arrives as imagery, as a feeling, as the specific knowing that something is possible that you had quietly stopped allowing yourself to fully believe, as a clarity about a direction you have been approaching carefully with 1 foot in and 1 foot still holding back. When you wake up tomorrow and something clicked into place during the night, something that feels larger than what you went to sleep carrying, that is dream message 1. The calling in its actual size. Unguarded, unfiltered, full. Do not let the morning reduce it. Before you pick up your phone, before the day comes back online, write down what you are holding. The feeling, the image, the knowing, whatever arrived, write it before it fades. Dream message 2, the soul level connection that is being sent toward you. The Pisces moon is the sign of recognition, of the connections that feel like reunion rather than introduction. The people who arrive, and within moments you know you have been circling each other long before you met. Tonight, in the dream state, you receive information about a connection that is incoming, not a face necessarily. The soul level does not work with photographs. What arrives is a quality, a feeling. The specific energetic signature of someone who is being moved toward you in the next season and whose arrival is going to matter significantly. For some, it arrives as a dream encounter, a conversation with someone whose face is unclear but whose presence is unmistakable. A sense of being known completely without having to explain anything. For others, it arrives as a symbol, a door opening onto something that feels like home, a light from an unexpected direction. A voice that says exactly what you needed to hear. When this connection arrives in waking life, you will recognize it, not because you saw a face, because the quality matches. The feeling of recognition mirrors what the dream delivered. And the Pisces moon is showing you the quality in advance so that when it arrives you receive it with open hands instead of the guardedness that disappointment seasons produce. The connection is coming. Tonight's dream is the preview, dream message 3, the specific next step that has been just out of reach. There is a step you have been close to taking for a while, a direction that is sensed but not yet definite. A next move that has been hovering at the edge of clarity without quite landing into the definiteness that would allow action. Tonight it lands, not as a linear instruction, as a symbol that translates into knowing upon waking, as an image that resolves into direction when you sit with it, as the specific recognition of, yes, that is what I do next. You will know it is this message because it will not fade the way ordinary dream content fades. It will be sticky, present, still there when the morning comes, carrying a weight that ordinary dreams do not carry, a quality of having arrived from somewhere outside your own thinking. That is the message, the next step, clear tonight. Now let me tell you what to do before you sleep and what to do when you wake up. Because receiving the messages is one thing, capturing them before they dissolve is another. Before you sleep tonight, do this. Put your phone away, turn off every screen, sit in genuine quiet for 5 minutes, not scrolling, not thinking about tomorrow, just quiet. And in that quiet, set your intention out loud. Say these words or something close to them. Tonight I am open. I am ready to receive what is being sent through the portal. I want to hear message 1 about my calling, message 2 about the connection that is coming, message 3 about my next step. I am ready, I receive. That intention said out loud in the quiet of tonight signals to the spiritual realm that you are available for conscious reception, that what arrives will not just pass through the dreaming mind and dissolve before waking, that you are here, listening, ready to hold what is delivered. Keep a pen and paper beside where you sleep, not your phone, a physical pen, physical paper, because the window between dreaming and waking is narrow. The moment you pick up a screen, the dreaming mind closes. The messages that were present in the first moments of consciousness begin to fade. And what the portal delivered overnight becomes just a feeling you cannot name. When you wake up tomorrow, before you do anything else, before you move, before you open your eyes fully, ask yourself one question. What am I still holding from the night? What is present right now that was not there yesterday? And write whatever surfaces, without editing, without requiring it to make sense. The image, the feeling, the word, the knowing, the fragment, whatever is there, capture it. The meaning assembles itself from the fragments, but the fragments disappear within minutes if you do not write them down first. What you write tomorrow morning in those first minutes is going to matter. It is going to contain the calling in its full size, the quality of the incoming connection. The specific next step, 3 messages, delivered tonight through the 666 portal and the Pisces moon. Now I want to tell you about the signs that tonight's portal has already been working in your life, because if you have been experiencing any of the following in the last several days, this is why. Unusual dream intensity, dreams more vivid than ordinary, more emotionally present, dreams you remembered when you woke up. That stayed with you through the day rather than dissolving in the first minutes. That felt like they were carrying something beyond ordinary dream content. That intensity is the portal warming up the channel. The messages have been arriving in fragments in the build-up. Tonight they arrive complete, repeated symbols or numbers. Something that has been appearing across different contexts, in a dream and then in a conversation, in a song and then in something you read, the same image or number from multiple directions, as though the universe is pointing at something from every angle it can find. That repetition is the preview of one of tonight's messages. When the full message arrives in the dream, you will recognize the connection. It will be unmistakable. A restlessness that is not anxiety, the feeling that something is on the edge of arrival without being able to name what it is. A quality of anticipation without a specific object, like standing at a door knowing something is about to come through it. That restlessness is your soul already responding to what is incoming, already registering the portal's presence before the conscious mind has processed it. Tonight the restlessness completes, the arrival that has been on the edge lands, the portal has been knocking. Tonight the door opens, and what arrives when the door opens through the dream state, through the three messages, through the Pisces Moon's deep spiritual receptivity on a night charged with the 666 portal's energy is not ordinary. It is the leap, not step by step, not gradually building toward, directly, from where you are now to where the messages point, from the adjusted smaller version to the full version of the calling, from waiting for the connection to recognizing it when it arrives, from almost clarity about the next step to the definite knowing of what to do. Tonight the portal delivers, tomorrow you receive what arrived, and the day after tomorrow you begin to live it. Now I want to speak about something that happens the morning after a portal like this one. Because understanding it is what determines whether the quantum leap completes or quietly reverses without you noticing. When the three messages land, when you capture them in the first minutes of tomorrow morning, something will feel different. The day will have a specific charge. A quality of standing at the edge of something already in motion. A sense that the ground beneath your feet is not quite the same ground you were standing on yesterday. And in that feeling a voice will arrive, not the voice that delivered the messages, a different voice. The voice that has been managing your expectations for a long time, that has learned from experience to reduce the size of what you allow yourself to believe. That will look at what you wrote this morning and say, that is probably just a dream. That is probably wishful thinking. That is probably not as significant as it feels right now. That voice is not wisdom, it is protection. It is the part of you that has been hurt by hope before and does not want to be hurt again. And it has served you in seasons when hoping too much created costs you could not afford. But tomorrow morning is not one of those seasons. Tomorrow morning is the morning after the 666 portal, after the Pisces Moon's deepest delivery, after the three messages completed their arrival. And listening to that voice tomorrow will cost you what the portal just gave you. Here is what you do instead. When the voice arrives and begins its work of reducing what the dream delivered, you do one specific thing. You take one small step in the direction of the message, not the full implementation, not the complete commitment. One step, small enough to be possible, large enough to be real. A step that says to the universe, I received what you sent, I am moving toward it. I am not waiting for more proof before I begin. That step taken before the voice has fully made its case is the quantum leap completing, because a quantum leap is not the arrival of the new state, it is the choosing of it. The specific moment of deciding that what was delivered in the dream state is real and worth moving toward before the ordinary voice has had time to talk you out of it. Choose it tomorrow, in the first hours. While the messages are fresh and the portal's energy is still present enough to support the first movement, that is the leap. That is the quantum shift from one timeline to another, not dramatic, not visible to anyone else. The private, specific, personally significant choosing of the full version over the adjusted one, of openness over protection, of the next step over the waiting. Choose it tomorrow morning before the day takes over. Now I want to say something about what tonight means in the context of everything that has been building, because the 666 portal and the Pisces Moon did not arrive randomly. They arrived at the end of a specific sequence, the Sagittarius blue moon on May 31st, the integration week that followed, the sealing of the new foundation, the Aquarius moon that locked the new timeline. All of it leading to June 6th, and chosen ones who have been in this sequence, who watched the blue moon messages and felt the integration and sensed the sealing, arrive at tonight with something that chosen ones outside the sequence do not have. They arrive with a prepared field. A field that has been clearing and opening and settling into the receiving posture for 6 days. a field that is ready for what tonight delivers in a way that only 6 days of intentional preparation can produce. If you have been following along, if you were present for the blue moon and the days that followed, tonight is for you in a specific way that it is not for everyone. The preparation you did, even if you did not know you were doing it, even if it simply meant showing up each day and receiving what was available, created the conditions that make tonight's delivery most complete for you. The portal delivers to everyone who is open, but it delivers most completely to the ones who arrived at it already prepared, already cleared, already in the posture of reception. You are prepared. Tonight is yours. One last thing before you go to sleep. The universe does not send messages to people it has given up on. It sends messages to people it is actively working with, people whose lives it is moving through, people whose next season it is building toward. The fact that tonight's portal found you, that these words reached you before morning, that something in you recognized what was being described, is itself evidence. You are someone the universe is actively working with. Someone whose next season it is building. Someone for whom the 3 messages tonight carry specific, personal, irreplaceable relevance. You are not a passive observer of what the universe is doing. You are a participant, and tonight the participation deepens in the dream state while you sleep. Go to sleep with open hands, set your intention, keep the pen beside you, and wake up tomorrow ready to write. The portal is open, the moon is in Pisces, the messages are coming. Now I want to address the chosen ones who almost did not find this tonight, who were about to close the screen and go to sleep without reading this, who found it in the last hour before midnight, who almost missed it. You did not miss it. You arrived exactly when you were supposed to arrive. The universe does not send messages early to some people and late to others based on spiritual worthiness. It sends them precisely, and for you, precisely meant tonight in the last hours, with the full weight of a day almost completed behind the words. And that timing is not a lesser version of the delivery. It is the specific version that was always coming for you. The person who finds this message at 11 p.m. on June 6th receives the same 3 dream messages as the person who found it at noon. The portal does not favor the early arrival, it favors the open one. And arriving late with open hands is worth infinitely more than arriving early with closed ones. You are here, that is what matters, not when you arrived. And one more thing. For the chosen ones who have been in a long season of not receiving clear guidance, who have been asking and listening and waiting for direction that has felt silent or delayed or unclear, who have begun to wonder if the channel is open for everyone else but somehow closed for them. The channel is not closed. It was never closed. What was closed was the specific window of alignment that allows the deepest communication to arrive most clearly. And tonight that window is open, wider than it has been in months. The Pisces Moon and the 666 portal together create the specific conditions that the deep guidance requires to complete its delivery. Tonight the silence ends, not because you finally did something right, because the timing is right, because everything that has been building toward tonight has arrived at tonight. And the guidance that has been forming in the spiritual realm, waiting for the window that would allow it to be received, is arriving tonight through the dream state. The channel was never closed. Tonight it delivers. Tonight is not the beginning of something vague. It is the beginning of something specific. The specific season that the testing season was always building toward. The specific chapter that the silence was always making room for. The specific version of your life that the full calling, the incoming connection, and the next step all point toward. The 3 messages are the map of that chapter, delivered tonight, through the portal, through the Pisces Moon, through the dream state of a chosen one who went to sleep with open hands and woke up ready to write. Tomorrow morning is the first morning of the chapter the map points toward. Now I want to go deeper on each of the 3 dream messages, because I described what they are. And I want you to understand why they arrive in this specific order and what that order means for how you receive them. Dream message 1 arrives first because purpose is the foundation. Before you can recognize the incoming connection, you need to know who you are becoming. Before the next step makes sense, you need to understand what direction it is part of. The calling in its full size is the context for everything else the portal delivers. It is the map key. Without it, the other 2 messages arrive without their full meaning. This is why the universe delivers the purpose message first, not as a concept but as a felt sense, as the interior recognition that the version of yourself you have been operating from is a compressed version, and that the uncompressed version, the one that the waking mind adjusted away from over the years, is what tonight's dream is returning to you. Some chosen ones receive this message as a literal dream about their work, their creative expression, their calling in a specific form they can name. Others receive it as a feeling of expansion, of suddenly being in a space that is larger than the one they normally inhabit, of breathing differently, of moving without the specific constraint that has been present in the waking hours when they move toward the full version of what they are called to. Both are the same message. The form is personal. The content is universal. You were created for something specific. The testing season refined you for it, and tonight the portal returns you to the knowledge of what it is, unguarded, unfiltered, in its actual size. Dream message 2 arrives second because connection serves the calling. The person or people who are being sent toward you are not sent for your companionship alone. They are sent because what you are called to requires collaboration, requires the specific gift or perspective or capacity that they carry, requires the mutual recognition of two people who are working towards something that neither of them could reach alone. The Pisces Moon has been governing soul-level recognition across centuries of human experience. It is the energy of the moment you meet someone and feel, without being able to explain it, that this person matters, that something about this encounter is significant in a way that ordinary encounters are not, that the universe arranged this, that it is not coincidence. Tonight, before that recognition arrives in waking life, the dream delivers its energetic signature, its quality, its frequency, not to predict who the person is but to prepare you to recognize them when they arrive. Because recognition is not automatic, it requires preparation. It requires the prior encounter with the quality of what is coming so that when it appears in ordinary life you do not miss it because it arrived differently than you expected. The dream is the preparation. The waking encounter is the recognition. And the recognition, when it comes, will carry the specific quality of "I know this. I have felt this before. This is who the portal was pointing toward." And dream message 3 arrives last because steps follow clarity. You cannot take the right next step without knowing the direction of the calling. You cannot move toward the right connections without understanding what you are moving toward together. The next step is the natural expression of the first 2 messages becoming actionable. It arrives last, and it arrives specifically, not as a general encouragement to keep going, as the particular thing, the specific conversation or decision or beginning or step that belongs to the next day, to tomorrow, to the morning that follows tonight. And the reason it arrives in the dream state rather than in the waking hours where you have been reaching for it is simple. The waking hours are full of reasons why the next step is not yet possible, full of the specific objections that the protecting part of you raises whenever the calling asks you to move. The dream state has none of those reasons. In the dream, the step is simply the step, unencumbered, clear, present. Write it down when you wake. Because the clarity that the dream delivered about the next step is the exact clarity that the waking hours have been withholding. And with it written down, the withholding loses its grip. You know what to do, not because you figured it out, because it was shown to you, and shown things cannot be unshown. Now I want to speak to something specific about the ritual of tonight, because what I described earlier, the 5 minutes of quiet and the spoken intention and the pen beside the bed, is the structure, and structure matters, but what fills the structure is what actually determines the depth of the reception. The 5 minutes before sleep are not a performance, they are not a spiritual technique to execute correctly, they are simply the act of becoming genuinely still, of bringing the day to a full stop before the night begins, of arriving at the threshold of sleep, not as someone who collapsed into rest after exhausting the waking hours, but as someone who chose to cross the threshold consciously. Most people cross the threshold of sleep by accident. The body gives out. The screen gets boring. The thoughts become too heavy to continue, and sleep arrives as relief rather than as intention. But the chosen one who crosses the threshold of sleep with intention arrives in the dream state differently, more present, more available. The dream channel responds to intentional entry the way a conversation responds to genuine attention rather than distracted half-listening. What is said is received more completely. What is delivered lands more fully. So the 5 minutes tonight are not about technique, they are about intention, about arriving at sleep as a prepared receiver rather than an exhausted collapser, about saying to the spiritual realm, I am here, I am conscious, I am crossing this threshold deliberately, deliver what you have been preparing. And then let the night do what the night does. You do not need to stay awake managing the reception. You do not need to try to dream the right things. The portal delivers whether you are consciously monitoring it or not. Your job in the 5 minutes is to signal readiness, and then let sleep take you and let the delivery happen in the way that deliveries happen, below the surface of conscious management in the deep of the night, while the receiving is most complete, and then the morning, the pen. The first 5 minutes, the capturing of what arrived, those first 5 minutes of tomorrow morning are the completion of tonight's ritual. The 5 minutes before sleep open the channel, the 5 minutes after waking capture what came through. Together they form the complete act of conscious reception, and what is consciously received is consciously available for the choosing that follows. Tonight is the night, tomorrow is the choosing, and the day after tomorrow is the beginning of the chapter that both of them together make possible. Tonight is the night, tomorrow is the choosing, and the day after tomorrow is the beginning of the chapter that both of them together make possible. Now I want to speak to something that the Pisces moon carries that most teaching on this lunar energy overlooks. Something about the relationship between Pisces and grief, between the dissolution that Pisces governs and the specific kind of grief that chosen ones carry into significant spiritual windows like tonight. Pisces dissolves. That is one of its core functions. It takes what is solid and returns it to fluidity, what is rigid and makes it porous, what is defended and creates openings in the defense. And in the dream state under the Pisces moon, this dissolution works on the grief that has been held in the body and the spirit, not the fresh grief of recent loss, the accumulated grief, the layers of it, the grief of the prayers that arrived differently than expected. The grief of the seasons that asked more than felt fair. The grief of the version of yourself that entered the testing season and is not fully the same version on the other side. The grief of what the waiting cost that was never fully processed because processing it would have required stopping and stopping was not available during the season of surviving. Tonight that grief has somewhere to go. The Pisces moon creates a specific kind of space for it. Not for processing in the analytical sense, for releasing, for the specific spiritual phenomenon that happens when something held too long in the interior is given permission to move. In the dream state, this release often arrives as imagery that carries emotional weight without a clear narrative, as the dream that produces tears upon waking without a story to attach them to, as the feeling of something lifting that you did not fully realize was heavy until the lifting began. If this happens tonight, if you wake up in the early hours with tears whose source is not immediately clear, do not dismiss it or try to explain it or attach it to a specific event. That is the Pisces moon doing what Pisces does, dissolving what has been held too long, creating space in the interior for what the portal is bringing. The grief is not the message. The grief is the clearing that makes room for the message. The two happen together in the dream state. And the chosen one who allows the clearing to complete, who does not push away the tears or the unnamed heaviness in the early hours, is the chosen one whose field is most fully available for the delivery that follows. Let the Pisces moon do its work tonight, all of it, the delivering and the clearing. The messages and the releasing, the new and the old making way for the new. Both are gifts, both serve the morning that follows. Write 1111 in the comments. See you in the next one.